Okay, good morning, ma'am. Good morning, classmates. So, good morning, everyone. So, our group assigned on a topic research methodology, which is module 4. So, in research methodology, there are six on how to know what are in we're gonna be used in research. So, in my topic is all about research respondent. So, when we say research respondent, the first thing that we come up in our mind is um, who are the people? Who are the respondents? Unsa day ng respondent? So, kinsa tong mga mo respond sa research nga imong i-conduct. So, unsa di ay types? Unsay mga ways on how to conduct research to your respondents. So, the respondents of the study are the samples which were taken from the population of the study. So, basically, research respondents, we say research respondents is we're talking all about the population. So, research methodology, this section specifies what method of research will be used. It is descriptive, correlation, experimental, or documentary analysis. So, within this chapter, you will know all of that. So, in my topic, I will discuss all the ways on how to get on how to analyze the respondent. So, first is subject respond of the study. So, this is so simple. Mangita lang ka what is your subject, unsay imong subject for your study, then imong i-identify po dayon who are your respondent of your study. So the distinction should be made between subjects and respondent of the study. So subject are the person investigated in the study, while the respondent of the study is katong mo respond sa imong research. For example, when learning abilities of preschool pupils are being assessed in the study, the preschool pupils are the subject. Then, the pupils, teachers, and mothers who will be interviewed and asked to fill out a questionnaire are the respondents of the study. So, respondents, therefore, are providers of information needed in the illicit orally or in writing. So, it is important to state your number of subject or respondents and who they are. So, also explain how the number will be decided upon. So, it is important og mag-conduct og research sa research respondent nga. Kay bawo ta pila atong subjects. Daghan tag subject, then ato pud tan-awon if pila pud ang atong mga respondents. So with this, makita na nato ipakita na ho unsay mga ways on how para ma-determine nato ang atong mga respondents. So first is simple random sample or SRS. So technically, random sample is a set of objects in a population of n object where all possible samples are equally like to happen. So sa simple random, explainable siya. It's because random sample. So random ra ka mo kuha sa og sample sa imong mga respondents. So for example, we put 100 numbered bingo balls into a bowl, which is the bingo bowl mo na siya n population. So when we select 10 balls from the bowl without looking, so mo na ni siya ang your n sample. So note, it is important not to look as you could bias the sample. So random gani, so dili jud na to tan-awon ang atong na-select nga mga sample para dili siya bias. Okay, so this is the sample illustration of simple random sample. So this left side are the population and this right side are the sample. So random gani, for example, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 population, atong i-assume 1 is equivalent to 100. So 100, so naa kay 1 to population nga imong study. So when we say random, we should pick within this 1 to population. Okay, so from this first batch, sa dark areas, then sa light areas, sa dark areas, gi-choose ang number 2 to para mahimo siyang sample. Then sa next batch, sa light areas, nag-choose og number 5 and number 8 to be the next sample. Then sa third batch, nag-choose og number 10 sa light colors to be the sample. So random pick nga pagkakuha. Next is stratified sampling. So stratified sampling is possible when it makes sense to partition the population into groups based on a factor that may influence the variable that being measured. These groups are called strata. So the individual group called stratum when stratified sampling one should. So ingan ni. Sa usa ka group, usa ka circle of group, partition the population into groups, we called it strata. Then when we obtain a sample random from each group, so we call that stratum. So collect the data on each of the sampling unit that was randomly sampled from each group. Okay, so based sa this example, so stratified sampling. So the population, mo na siya usa ka group sa population, then we select, we ato na siyang gibahin by groups, i-partition into population groups based on the factors that influence the variable that being measured. So ato silang gi-identify if per group kung asa sila nabilong based sa atong study. So if ato na siyang i-group, that we called the strata. When i-group nato siya, no? So ato na siya diyang tawgon og strata. When we obtain random sample, so like for this example, nagkuha og duha sa usa ka group strata, so ang tawag na nila is stratum. So mo to siya stratified sampling. Next is purposive sampling. A purposive sampling is not probability sample that is selected based on characteristic of population and the objective of the study. Purposive sampling is also known as judgmental, selective, or subjective sampling. So purposive sampling is mag-base lang siya sa imong characteristic sa population. Then, unsay imong objective sa imong study. So, like for this illustration, sa population, so, you will see what are the characteristics, tanaw lang nimo what are the characteristics sa population nga na-select nimo. Then, imo rang i-random pod og kuha who are your responsive purposive sampling. So, once nakita na nimo what are the characteristic of that population, based sa imong objective sa imong study. So, mo to ang imong mga purposive sample. Next is sampling techniques. A stratified random sampling procedure was used for selecting the participants in the study. This technique was employed to ensure a fairly equal representation of the variables for the study. This was achieved by writing out the names of the staff in a piece of paper, which was folded and put in the basket. After thorough reshuffling, the researchers select an element, record it, and put it back in the basket until the required number is obtained. So this is the researcher applied sampling with replacement. So in sampling techniques, even though random siya procedure, but they ensure that it has a fairly equal representation of the variable of the study. So kung na for of course you determine your study, so inigpick nimo sa imong mga respondents, it is fairly equally tanawon ang name. So just like the other one nga mo random rag pick, di nimo tanawon. Pero kani inig-write down nimo sa mga name, tanawon nimo inigkuha kung kinsa to si siya, din imong i-identify kung asa si siya dapit mabilong sa imong study. So this is the sampling technique. Next is the sample of the population. From some studies, the population may be small enough to warrant the inclusion of all of them in the study, but study may entail a large population which cannot all be studied. That portion of the population that is studied is called a sample of the population. A sample in the study is therefore a smaller group, 3 to 4 of elements, drawn through definite procedure from accessible population. The elements making of the samples are those that are actually studied. So, sample of the population is basically, this strategy is para ni sa mga dagko nga population nga imong study. It's because dili to nimo sila kaya i-accommodate tanan. So, mag-select ka for those, for example, in population, this applies when we gather data or when making data for the percentage of, for example, the percentage what Duterte makes in our country. So, asa na siya nga, what what percent did he do to our country? So, when we get a data from that, of course, it is from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So, it is a big population. So, in making sample for going para makakuha tag sample sa ingana kadako nga population, so we just need a portion of the population to be studied to be called sample of the population. So sa atong nahibaw-an, inig come up diha is okay, so basically, sample of the population is we will just get the sample from our study of the whole population. For Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, we just we just get a sample from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, but dili na to kuhaon tanan nga mga respondents from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So dili to nato tanan himong mga respondent is because daghan ra kaayo. So even if ang atong ihatag nga data is from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, but nag-get ra from a smaller group, 3 to 4 smaller group of elements para himuon na tong respondents. So that's all. I hope you understand my topic.